Okay, good morning to everyone. Welcome to Innovency's first online session, Quarantine Yet Communicate via MS Team. I believe that everyone hear us and everyone can see our screen. So let me spend about 1 or 2 minutes on Innovency's and let me tell you what sort of things we have been doing. So we started Innovency's about 1 year back, and we do all type of training, both IT and non-IT training. But when it comes to online training, this is our first online training because we didn't have any issues, the one we are experiencing now. Everyone knows that Sri Lanka is experiencing a very bad situation, and it's very difficult to continue what we have been doing. And we have noticed that everyone tries to use Microsoft Teams for day-to-day communication, and some are struggling to how to get started with Microsoft Teams. We have seen that installing issues, setting up meetings, sharing files, things like that. So what we thought was rather than waiting till this situation is getting sort of sorted out, we decided to start with an online training. So this is going to be the first online training of Innovency's, and we'll be discussing how we can use Microsoft Teams efficiently for handling day-to-day communication. So let me talk about the presenter today. We have Susantha Silva, and he is one of the best in Sri Lanka in terms of handling various type of Microsoft technologies, infrastructure type of implementation, and he will be doing its interactive part. So he will be demonstrating, he will be discussing MS Team, he'll be demonstrating everything required for handling all type of communication, and this is how it's going to work. You will not be able to ask question while we're doing the session, but of course we have open Q&A session for you. If you have gone through the mail I have sent, that has all instruction how to send questions to us. So make sure you use live event Q&A section for sending questions. So I'll be moderating the whole event. If I see that the question has to be immediately addressed, I'll be interrupting the speaker, Susantha, and then let's take that question and continue. But what we have planned is we'll be taking all the questions at the end of the session, and we'll be spending about 10 to 15 minutes on all your questions. So if you have question, all you have to do is just open the Q&A section and type your name and send the question. I'll make sure that your questions are getting answered. For some reason, if the question needs a detailed answer, we'll not be able to take it, but we'll make sure that you have the answer within a couple of days, because we'll be having all the questions recorded, and we'll try our best to give the solution. Another thing is we'll be recording this. So once the event is done, once the session is done, it will take some time for compiling the video and making it available. So once the video is available, we'll be sharing that video with you. OK, so let's start it. Susantha, over to you.
OK, thank you, Dinesh. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Good morning, everyone. So, as Dinesh mentioned, today we are going to mainly focus about how you can effectively use Microsoft Teams when it comes to scenario we call WFH, working from home scenario, because all of us been pushed into that situation whether we like it or not. So it's a change culture, we need to get adjusted. So being said that, about myself, little bit information, very high level. So my name is Susantha Silva, as Dinesh mentioned, and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and used to be a Microsoft certified MVP as well. So been in the industry for more than actually now I think 18 years. For the past 6 years, I was mainly focusing on helping customers to transform their infrastructure solutions to the cloud. We have the fancy name called digital transformation. So during that, I have been helping the customers to make sure their data centers can be migrated to cloud, and certain technologies we need to revamp, like application need to be cloud ready solutions. We were doing that one across the APAC region. So that being said, that one of my passionate is about conducting trainings, so sharing the knowledge. So you might be able to find out in my blog certain technical articles also being shared related to that area. And I'm working continuously with Innovesys, sharing these trainings plus video sessions moving forward. So being said that, for the today agenda, we are going to talk about the Microsoft Teams introduction. But the introduction, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'll go with very high level about what's the Microsoft vision and how we should leverage that. And then we'll talk about the Microsoft Teams interface and the features on that. Then we will spend time on how to prepare for a meeting using Microsoft Teams. And finally, we have some URLs being shared. And apart from that, feel free to ask the questions, and at the end of the session, we'll try to answer as much as possible based on the time. So that instruction already previously shared by Dinesh, so we'll try to stick to that guidelines. So being said that, I just want to get your attention why suddenly all those scenarios happening. Actually, the current situation of academic situation, it's not exactly the reason for us to move forward to more like a collaboration platform, but it has been happening slowly for last 2 to 3 years time, I would say. The business keep on changing, and the work in place is no longer a most important or relevant situation for most of the business, because we might be working from mobile phones, laptops, and our location can be the office, home, or maybe a coffee shop. So because of that, and based on the business practice, we are no longer communicating with the colleagues in Sri Lanka. We are working with our business partners, our teammates in overseas. So it's much more important for us to understand that the word collaboration, it's not about like simply sending an email and waiting for answer like that. The world is moving very fast. The response time is expected from the business by the consumers is getting increased, so they don't want to wait for a long time. So with all those scenarios, that is why this collaboration platform came to the picture. So now with these tools, we are expecting the consumers and the business can actually work faster and get the results. So being said that, I use the word called collaboration platform. This is a common word for most of the platform vendors are offering. So if you look at it, what is Microsoft collaboration platform to you? So everyone knows about Microsoft Word and Excel, which is the productivity tools. And then we had the Microsoft Outlook as the email. But still, you were working using these tools in separate windows. But when it comes to comprehensive collaboration, these isolated products will not going to give you the benefits or the faster output what you're expecting. So Microsoft Teams, we can say it's a unified communication and collaboration platform, because by using Microsoft Teams application, you are going to combine all those tools like Word, Excel, Microsoft Outlook, and video conferencing, sharing the documents, everything into one tool. I would use the word. And recently, like April 21st, Microsoft changed their product line as well. Instead of using Office 365, moving forward, all the products they will be introducing and already renamed as Microsoft 365. So now the word Office 365 is no longer going to be used. And the other thing is, when it comes to collaboration, we know like every organization will be having different software. Non-Microsoft products also will be used for communication and maybe document sharing. So what this Microsoft Teams tool is going to do is it's going to actually extend its arm to integrate with non-Microsoft products as well. So when you go through the demo, you will be able to see how the company that I currently work in leveraging that integrating with third-party application. So with that said, this is where actually now Office 365 now been renamed. Actually, this slide I might have to rename it quickly. It's called Microsoft 365. So basically, your emailing, scheduling, Teams meetings, that's also going to be combined into Teams, and then the document create, and then finding the contents, the documents within your Office environment, file servers, is going to be also integrated into Teams, and your usual Skype for Business or Skype going to be, if you are a user who has been using Skype and Skype for Business, it's going to be replaced. So now, because right now Microsoft already started that steps. So right now we were replacing Skype. No, Skype is no longer going to be used in future. So it's always going to be replaced by Microsoft Teams. So your typical day-to-day calls and meetings are going to be on the new platform, and the chatting also going to be come back to the Microsoft Teams. And then most important thing, in such scenarios, we want to make sure you're going to collaborate or connect across the other organization, or in the common term we call B2B, business to business. And most probably it can be business to business communication between two companies, or it can be business to external person, we call B2P. So all those scenarios, example within Microsoft Teams, it's not only a tool you can use within your organization, you can communicate with your other business partners using Microsoft Teams. You can invite them, and also there are certain business I have seen, example apparel industries, I have seen like they have individual people, they are communicating for business work. So in this scenario, Microsoft Teams can send the invitation to external email addresses like Hotmail, Gmail, and then invite them to the conversations and the collaboration. So end of the day, Microsoft Teams is all about all these scenarios that I mentioned is going to be combined into one platform. So with that said, let's go ahead for a quick demo. So I have went ahead and opened the Microsoft Teams application on my machine. Kindly remember, Microsoft Teams can be opened through the web browser, or it can be installed to your machine as application and used. In a certain scenario, if you are not within your typical day-to-day computer, of course you can use a web browser base, but there are certain limitations when it comes to communication within the web browser. But being said that, if I go ahead and do a high-level introduction, I'm not going to talk about the installation, because installation it's a matter of like downloading the Microsoft Teams file and double-clicking that one, and typical our Microsoft next to next scenario. It's pretty easy to set it up. And then if it's a large organization, we even go ahead and do the installation for the devices in the backend using Microsoft system management tools. So being said that, if I come back to the typical interface of Microsoft Teams, what you see on the upper left-hand corner, we have the activity. So this activity means with your user account with whom you have collaborated previously. All the history will be there in this situation, entire history. And if I quickly show you with the current person whom I have highlighted, Sabeshan, you can see just like in Skype for Business, the green color is there just to denote that he is available. And then all the previous history of communication that I had with that person. If I take a couple of things to quickly show. So it's not about only the chat, as you can see. I have taken up a meeting with him and all the meeting history is there. And I have taken a video call. The video calls also will be appearing. And if I have shared, let's say, documents with him, it can be document, pictures, anything. All these conversation history will be available within this interface. Now, like example, as I said, this is individual person, of course, but then it can be team as well. You can have conversation with multiple persons. Now, most important when you are using Microsoft Teams effectively, if you have a history, let's say example with Sabeshan, I have been communicating for months or years in our communication history, as you can see up to 2017 and so on and so forth it goes. I wanted to find some files or maybe a chat conversation. You can type the keyword and try to find it, and it will take you to the relevant location. And the other important factor, when you share files or contents, rather than browsing through the history to find them, in this particular chat window, we have a section called Files. When you go to Files, it will show you all the files that I have shared with this particular person, Sabeshan. And then apart from that, you have the other tools or the application which we are going to use with them. So example, let's say I wanted to communicate with Sabeshan or maybe edit a document. I'll be able to do that one within this particular window itself. In my next demo, I'll talk about detailing. And apart from that, if you are using any other application, third-party application, that also can be integrated. Now, this activity, as I mentioned, this is a common place just to show the history. If I go to chat, this is where your individual chat conversation or group chat conversation is mentioned. Again, the same like what you saw in the activity. Activity is all about what you did within the teams. Chat is all about individual one-to-one or one-to-many, because you can have the chat conversation in different ways. So example, now I'm in the chat. Again, if I highlight with Sabeshan, if you look at it, this history, you can see there are files I have mentioned, videos as I mentioned earlier. But there are a few interesting things now I'm going to highlight quickly. If you look at it on the bottom, we can, if we are going to have a conversation with multiple team members, if you really want to highlight your conversation, you have the option of formatting, and then you can type something, let's say this is important news, and then you can actually increase the font size just to make it get highlighted, and then highlight that one and send it to the teams. So in a team conversation, that particular chat part will be highlighted, because there are, let's example, when you're working in an organization, let's say you have created a team and you are working with them couple of 10 or 15 or maybe 100 of team members, and you want that particular message to get highlighted. So you have the option to format. And apart from that, attach in the files. As I mentioned earlier, the files can be attached from upload from your computer, or you can bring it from your OneDrive. And then since we are working not only with the typical people like 80s like me, it will be millennials, Gen X, Gen Y, all generations will be working. So they have gone beyond typical typing facility. They wanted to express their emotions in various methods. So in that situation, Microsoft is offering emojis, which is all of us are already familiar because we are using mobile phones. And then we have the animated GIFs. Let's say example, if I type a keyword, say thank you, and Microsoft will show us the animated GIFs which have in that particular word. But let's say you want to customize this wording. In that case, we have the sticker. So stickers situation, I can select a sticker and then say thank you, Sabeshan, and then you can see it's getting customized, and I can upload that one. This is very effective because in a chat conversation, it can be individual or group. Still, we want to make sure when you are working remotely, selected team members, we wanted to highlight them or say thank you, you done great, or even express your impressions by using these kind of animation GIFs or stickers, so which I find very useful. And apart from that, the options of selecting on here will be vary. You can, if you don't find what you want to share, you can even go to the three-dotted line, go to more apps, and then you can select the third-party application which I mentioned about. It's not about only Microsoft, but you have plethora of application. Now, example, in my scenario, I mentioned earlier, I have been shared voice files, documents, pictures, and even YouTube. you have the option over here to go ahead with YouTube and search the particular YouTube and then embed that one to the chat window. One more thing that I do with Sabeshan, normally he's a technical consultant, so I work with him frequently on projects. So one thing I like to see is what is the current project progress. We were using various applications for the time management and project progress, not only Microsoft applications. In that situation, if I quickly show you, we use application called Trello for the time being. So rather than when I'm having a conversation with him, going beyond or closing down or minimizing Teams and opening the other application, we can combine Trello application to this particular chat window. So this is what I have done on the activity. Sorry, if I go to projects actually directly opening the Trello. So I don't want to spend a lot of time in that one. But then again, if I go to add how to do that one, you type the word Trello and it will open the Trello application as long as you have the login. If you have already registered Trello, then the Trello particular section can be embedded. As you can see over here, I have already embedded projects and pre-sales activity part on Trello with Sabeshan. So whenever we are having one-to-one conversation via chat, or it can be video call or voice call, when I share my screen, I can actually take the conversation, sharing this project progress directly, rather than stepping out of Teams and going into Trello separately. So all in one, as I mentioned earlier. And same time, if you want to do the document, let's say I will highlight this one. I'll send the message to Sabeshan now. If I say, shall we edit the document? He will get the message if he's already in that particular client. And then once he agreed, saying yes, he's free, we can do that one. I can go to files, and then as I mentioned previously, the file already uploaded. If I open the document called Teams demo, which I already uploaded previously. Now, as you can see, I didn't went outside Teams to open the Microsoft Word. The Word is also open inside the Teams. So while Sabeshan is also inside that chat window, I can go ahead and highlight it. You can see now Sabeshan is already there. He is also working on the document. You can see while I'm editing, he is also editing, and I can find he's doing the editing part. And in the top upper right hand corner top, I can see Sabeshan is also in the editing part. Now, if I really want, I can take the conversation within this editing window with him and collaborate further. And if I go back to that document, just to highlight a few things. Now, recently, Microsoft enhanced these editing capabilities on when you're trying to do the edit documents online. So the options that you're seeing on the editing over the time period, they will be improving these features. What will happen is you will find in future, you will no need to have heavy MS Office application installed to your machine. Directly can work within the Teams. And if you're finding you don't wanted to do this one, if you want to open this document on web browser, not an issue. You can say open it browser and then go ahead and edit that one. So even if a person doesn't have MS Office application installed, but if they have Microsoft Teams installed and they have an active subscription, you can go ahead and actually edit the documents within the Microsoft Teams. So I can say thank you for Sabes. And then if as I said earlier, if you really want, you have the emojis you can share with him. Now that's simple task which I mentioned on the chat window. Now let's go ahead and try to find the most important area of Microsoft Teams, team collaboration. So if I go to the team section, as you can see on my current company that I'm working with, we already have Teams pre-created. So Teams is the common collaboration platform. So example, if you look carefully, you can see on the upper left-hand side, we have a team called Infront Sri Lanka. Because we are a company working across the region, we have teams for each country. So all the members, if I show you quickly, if I say manage team and then look at the team member hierarchy, we will be able to see who are the members in this particular team. Now, team itself will not going to work if you don't have any channels. So channels means within each company, in my scenario, Infront Sri Lanka, I have various business departments, let's say finance, technical, sales, marketing, likewise. So then for them to communicate, we can open channels. So Teams is the common one where all the team members are grouped together for the collaboration. And then we have channels to be more specific on the job task they are doing. So it can be job task, it can be a project. So example, if I go back and demonstrate for you quickly, if I say join or create a team, I'll try to create a team quickly for you all to demonstrate. So I'll say create a team, whether you want to create from the scratch or whether you wanted to create from existing form. But let's say I want to create from a scratch. Then it's asking whether this team need to be private or public. If I say private, then only the team members that I add will be able to see, not anyone else. So the explanation is self-explanation level the names. So I'll go with public. I'll call this one test team 03. And then you can give a description whenever someone look at that team name and who are their mouse icon, they'll be able to understand what this Teams is all about. Then the team will not become valuable if you don't have any team members. So we will go ahead and add couple of team members for this one. And let's assume this particular team, if you really want to give someone else the ownership, you can go ahead and assign one person as the owner as well, or by default, otherwise the person who create this one will be the owner. So once the team is created, by default, one channel is created called general. So please remember on the team, when you assign the members, and after that, whatever the channel that you create underneath the team, every team, the members of that team will be able to access that one, unless if you go ahead and make one of the channel private. As you can see, it can be easily identified when you see the padlock mark. So to how to do that one, if I go to the test team 03 to the 3 dotted line and select add channel, we'll call this one finance. And then it's asking the privacy, standard or private. I'll say private, and then I'll add the member. So let's assume in this situation, I'm going to add the person called Gayani. And as soon as we add that particular person on operation manager, then the padlock mark comes. So that's self-explanatory. What will happen is after that, this particular conversation that I'm having with this person is not visible to anyone in the team or across the organization unless they have the rights like that. So if I go back to my team 2, which I created earlier, few things you need to understand again on the teams. Always, if you want to do any modification, follow the 3 dotted lines. So you can rename this team and you can rename the what we call the channels. And then some of the tips. Let's assume you are in this particular, let's assume I'll take a test channel, and you really, there are actually 50 members on this test channel, that channel where you will be talking about a project, and you wanted to send them a meeting request. Rather than you are opening Microsoft Outlook and then typing all the team members' names one by one, which is really wasting of your valuable time, you can go ahead and get the team, this particular channel's email ID. So you can say get email address. It will take a little bit time these days due to the bandwidth constraint, which I assume we all are experiencing. So nevertheless, let it continue. You will be able to get down the email address which is belong to this particular channel. So here you get the email ID. And after that, you can actually, of course, open your Microsoft Outlook application and send a meeting for them. So example, you can send the meeting going to the Outlook, but I mentioned the word, you don't even have to walk outside the Teams to schedule a meeting. So you can directly go to calendars and schedule a meeting. So once you do that one, that particular meeting request will be visible within this channel. This is what you're seeing at the moment. So sales meeting, particular subject called AD migration project proposal. Now it is visible to everyone. This is one of the previous created meeting request, and then it has been over, and then we have recorded that session and the session also there. So if any sales team member missed this meeting, they can come to their channel, have a look at that previously recorded session, and next time when they come to the team meeting, they have no excuse. So they can say, I didn't see that one, I didn't know that one, because everything will be in this particular channel, and all the sales related, let's say the proposal or their particular sales files, everything can be kept on here, which is shareable one. One thing, important thing to remember, whatever files or chat you type over here in a channel can be visible for everyone. So if you really want to make a private conversation, go to chat to one-to-one. So don't be embraced in a situation where you are trying, when you are working on Microsoft Teams, don't go and type or respond on the wrong channel. So that things can happen. So be very careful about that part. But apart from that, this is the advantage when you're working on the Teams. So for the Teams also, as I mentioned earlier, you have the option to add on third-party application and the Microsoft application integration. So this is very, very important part, as I said, for the collaboration. Now, being said that, I'll go ahead and minimize this. And then I'll come back to the next important factor for the today agenda, how we are going to create a meeting and then organize that meeting and work on that meeting. Now, considering that I'm on a live meeting today, that I'm moving to another virtual machine and demonstrate that part live for you, because while I'm in a meeting, I won't be able to join for another meeting. So let me minimize this window, go to my virtual PC. So right now within that virtual PC, I have a different email account connected in this particular scenario. So being said that, just like previously, same interface, nothing different. And one more thing, like Microsoft even offering you the mobile application, always highlighting, so you can get the Teams installed across multiple devices and have the collaboration working seamlessly. So for the meetings, typically we used to go to Microsoft Outlook to schedule a meeting. But now, rather than going out, you have the calendar. Now, one thing to notice, this particular calendar is your user account's Outlook calendar. Both are same. So if you create a meeting using Microsoft Outlook, same will be appearing inside the Microsoft Teams. Now, being said that, let's focus on, I'll try to switch on to today scenario, and I'll try to go ahead and create a new meeting. So either you can go new meeting or you can click on this interface, both are same. So I'll try to select the timeline to 5:30, and then I'll try to say project progress discussion, AD migration to AU, Australia. So I really want to make sure whenever we are creating some kind of a meeting, always make sure the heading will be easily be understandable by the audience and they know what we are talking about. And then the audience. So audience, we can go ahead and type individual members, or if you are targeting to have this discussion with a specific channel, you can go ahead and select the channel. Then what will happen is every member in that channel will get the meeting request, which you saw previously. So in this situation, I'm going to target Sabeshan for this one. And then the meeting day we are going to have, which is today, and from 10, let's say 10:30 to, doesn't matter, in this case, let's say 10:30 to 11:30, half an hour. And this is not a repeatable meeting, just like a weekly sales meeting. But if you are organizing weekly sales meeting, you can have the repeat happening, just like what you do in Outlook. Now, the next important thing I always advise for anyone on creating a meeting is create an agenda, because we have given half an hour time. We don't want to waste time, rest of the team members, neither yours. So we have to be very specific what you are going to discuss. So I pre-prepared our agenda, and I'm going to press that one. Then everyone is very clear how things going to happen. If you're really smart enough, you can even mention who is the person in front of that particular timeline. Then each person knows it is their responsibility. So once I send this meeting request, unless the timeline is correct, I should be able to get the update. Just bear with me a few seconds. Something can go wrong, would be the date and time. Okay, so the time actually it has gone to a different situation. Now it's corrected. So if I click this one, and then if I send the message, let's say one more important thing I want to show just quickly. If during that particular project progression discussion, let's assume right now we are in the morning, or maybe we are in the Thursday, but I schedule this one to happen on Friday. But still, if I open that meeting, one interesting thing is still we can have the chat. Let's assume this is the sales meeting. It's going to happen on next Tuesday, and then this Friday I schedule the meeting. And then during that time, until that exact sales meeting time happens, maybe we really want to discuss few things about this sales meeting preparation. So the team members can have that particular chat within that meeting request. So that's the important thing. And if you really want to upload some files, maybe the presentations and maybe your sales forecasting, you can upload and keep them in advance. So when the meeting starts, you don't have to waste your time and struggle uploading files and uploading not working. All those excuses can be eliminated, and do that one. So right now, Sabeshan is already in the meeting. If I join for that meeting, right now in my virtual PC, I really don't have the video and audio, but I'll go ahead and join now for the demonstration. Okay, so the important things, this is how the interface is going to be for you. And I can see the Sabeshan also there in muted level. Now, if you are the organizer, and if you really want to record this meeting, again in this, when this bar appears, click the three-dotted line. You have the option to start recording, but make sure you don't start the internet speed. But apart from that, normally this is keep on working properly. Just bear with me a few seconds again. Okay, so here you see the message now. The privacy policy will be going on saying this is going to be recorded, so we can dismiss. If anyone don't want it to be in the recording meeting, they can skip, or then they will know the communication is getting recorded. They have to communicate in properly. So now that recording is started, now I really wanted to present something for the team. In my case, there are a couple of ways. I can do a chat show conversation with Sabeshan, because he is the person joined. If I really want to see who are the participants. Let's say you are the organizer. You want to see who are the participants. You can click show participant. You will be able to see who are the participants joined for this meeting. And then again, on each participant, you can control whether you want to mute them or remove participant or make them as attendee. Various options are available. This is very important. And the other important tip for you, if in a meeting, if you are a participant, when you are not talking or when you are not presenting, always make sure to disable the camera and mute the mic. The reason is, if someone else is presenting, if you didn't mute your mic, your background noise will be disturbing for them. So always has a guideline, or I would say best practice, make sure your camera is disabled and switched off, and then your mic is mute, just to make sure that the meeting will go smoothly. So being said that, now let's assume in my scenario, I really wanted to have a conversation with Sabeshan on a technical manner. So I really wanted to draw something and share with him. So I have an application called Microsoft Whiteboard, again, which is free of charge tool. So to do that one, I want to make sure I will only share the whiteboard, nothing else. Because in my machine, I really have some other application. So I really don't want to show them. In this situation, I can say, go to the share and select only the particular application I really wanted to share in that situation. So let me go ahead and select whiteboard. So now you will be able to see now the whiteboard is getting loaded to my side as well as for the Sabeshan side. So while it's loading, it will take a little bit time. As I said, all this delay or the constraint can be happen only due to the internet speed. So once this whiteboard loaded, if your computer or the end device have the capability of touch interface, and if you have the digital pen, you can use that and have this conversation with the other party, which will be much more interactive. So I'm almost ready. Okay, so let's assume in my case, I'm going to go ahead and select a color and then do some drawing. And in this situation, I'm expecting then if Sabeshan need, he also can actually interact with me on this particular whiteboard. As you can see now, I'm not drawing. So Sabeshan is drawing in that situation. So this is where, again, as I said, the true collaboration. And in this video, I didn't enable any voice, but in a proper scenario, you can have the mic enable and then share the whiteboard and have the conversation and do the brainstorming. So I took the example of sharing a whiteboard to this particular conversation. But in your case, it can be Excel file, it can be a PPT file, or maybe it can be any other third-party application running in your machine you wanted to share. But of course, in a whiteboard, you can interact. But again, in this scenario also, if I open a different application, you can even give that other person the control of that application. So now I'll go ahead and once this meeting is over, then I can go ahead and say stop recording. Then what will happen is this particular conversation I had with Sabeshan will be over. And then after that, once the video recording has been completed by Teams, it will go to the Microsoft streaming service and then do the encoding part. And then once it's available, it will be getting uploaded into the particular channel conversation. So particular meeting, and then once it's over, it will be available. Just to show a scenario how it has happened previously, if I switch back to the Microsoft Teams in my real computer. So if I go back onto the chat conversations, I demonstrated for you all previously, the video will be uploaded like this. You don't have to worry about to do anything. Even these videos can be 1 hour, 2 hours. once the processing has been happened on the background in the Microsoft Stream Services, it will be uploaded into that particular chat conversation or particular channel inside the team. So the important things I mentioned about in the meetings, organizing meetings, you need to be careful about is make sure you will be targeting the relevant team members properly. And then during a meeting, make sure if you are not the presenter, always mute. And if possible, close your camera as well, just to save the bandwidth. So then you can experience a smooth conversation, because especially considering in Sri Lanka and also considering the current situation where the bandwidth in every telco is saturated, if you really want to have effective communication, it's always better only the presenter will be having the video conferencing if it's necessary. Normally how I do is I take the initial video conferencing part, and after that I'm just going to disable the video, because I don't want to continuously have the video. So let me show another quick tip on the video part. Now, if I enable the video, let's say in my particular case, in video, you will be able to see my entire background in the video. So maybe I don't want it to show my background because I'm inside in a room. In the background, maybe not the ideal place I really want to demonstrate. In that case, again, in this particular bar, click the three-dotted line and you have the option to blur my background. So when you do that one, the background will be not much clearly visible. So this is also will be very useful if you are in a, let's say, outside the office, and inside the home, maybe the room is not very clean, or maybe you're in a coffee shop and the background picture might be disturbing for the audience because there are a lot of people moving here and there. You don't want to show that one. You can go ahead and do the blurring part. And in future, we are expecting Microsoft going to bring custom backgrounds. So that is actually still in the beta stage. Once it's done, you can select what kind of a background you want to select it. So rather than blurring, it will take one more step ahead. So that will be really cool. I'm expecting that will come very soon, released by the Microsoft Teams. So that being said, I'm disabling the video. Again, as I said, always try to make sure you don't waste the bandwidth. So that being said, now most of my conversation demo is almost over. So I'm going to hand it back to Dinesh just to find out what other Q&A we have. So from there, we can take it forward. And thank you very much for spending your valuable time with us today. I want to highlight a few more things quickly. Microsoft Teams is used to be free, but due to current scenario, they are not giving you free version. But the good news is they are giving the commercial version to you free of charge for 6 months. So if your organization really want to adapt Microsoft Teams with M365 subscription, you can get this one for free of charge for 6 months. So you have to communicate with the relevant partners. So you can communicate Dinesh or you can communicate with me. So we will help you for your organization to get it set it up. So, and then up to 6 months, you can use that one free of charge until this current situation is over. Microsoft wants to make sure they are not charging. And then I'm also looking forward when this situation is over, your free Microsoft Teams version will be given for you all as it is in future. So being said that one, thank you so much for the participation. Dinesh, it's back to you.
Oops. Sorry, Sudhant, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now clearly.
Okay, okay. I think mistakenly I have muted. Okay, so we have a set of questions. So let's try to manage the time because some of the questions have to be answered in detail. So the first question is all about the sharing screens. Are we in position to share multiple screens?
Multiple screens means like any given time you can select which window you wanted to share. Let's say
how soon we can switch, like rather than I saw another question, like if you have to share another screen, you need to turn the sharing off and then you have to start sharing. Is it possible to switch to another screen immediately rather than stopping and starting?
As far as I know right now, Dinesh, no, it's not possible. Switching between a window is not available right now. But as I said, right now, because things can change.
Okay, so let me go to the next question. There's a question saying, can emails be integrated as well? I'm not too sure. There was a question from Glenn. Glenn, if you're there, see whether you can reply to that question. Because I'm not too sure whether you're talking about some external emails or not. But Susan, the question is, can emails be integrated as well? Can email be weaved in the same Teams UI?
Right now, Microsoft is not given that option, but again, they recently released another application which is called Office. It's another small app where all your communication is demonstrated in a single platform, but still no. Apart from that, Outlook emails cannot be read at the moment in the same window, to my knowledge, when I check that one. Only the Teams at the moment, sorry, Calendar has been integrated. But not the other way around.
Okay. So let me go to the next one. There's a question saying, what is the meaning of choosing people from scratch and choosing existing members? Is there an option like that? Choosing people from scratch? Yes,
when you're creating a team, when you say existing, what will happen is you can have existing team members, a group, or if it can be Office 365 group. So rather than adding the people one by one, let's say in your Active Directory or in your Office 365, you have created a group, you can directly call that group. Let's say, take a simple scenario. Let's assume in a software development company, you have groups created for the projects. And then one team, they're almost completing their project, and then the project manager wanted to create another channel, or let's say another team in this way. In that team, he don't want to go and select 100 of people one by one. He want exact previous team. So in that situation, in Office 365 or in Teams, if you have created that particular users earlier, added as a group, you can call that one. So it will be saving your time.
Okay, right. There's another question on adding members. So how can we add new members to private channel? Let me see, which has already created, not started. Let's say event or your meeting has not been started, but how can we add new members to a private channel once it is created?
Okay.
Not at the creation, once it is created.
Slightly misaligned. If it's channels or teams, my advice is always hover the mouse cursor near to that one and then click the three-dotted line. In the three-dotted line, you will be able to see what are the actions you can do for that particular team or channel. Example, if your channel is a private channel, doesn't matter. If you follow the three-dotted lines, you will be able to see add members option or edit this channel. So from there, you can add or remove members. And the other, that's for the teams. The other one is when you are running a meeting, and let's assume you have invited 5 members and you forgot to invite one member which has not sent the meeting request earlier. Doesn't matter. The organizer can go and click the participants and then invite someone while the meeting is going on.
Okay, right. There's a question on the team login. Now, when you send an invitation, one person can just use the browser and then use the browser for logging and continuing it. Or if MS Team has been already installed the machine, we can use it. Are there any differences between these two in terms of logging? Are there any limitations, difficulties? It's all about the logging to MS Team, either using the browser or client tool.
No, only advantages when it comes to web application. You can do the record meetings and whiteboard sharing. Those rich activities can be carried out only on the application. Web interface is not the most recommended unless, let's assume you are inviting someone outside the company or you are in a remote area, not with your laptop, then you can use the web interface and attend to the meeting. But if you really want to do rich actions, like as I said, maybe share the whiteboard and try to integrate and provide your inputs, those things cannot be done. So that's the only, there are certain limitations like that. So the rich experience won't be there.
But other than that, login experience is same, right?
Yeah, login experience. If you already have a subscription, it's very much easier. If you don't have, let's say, in Innovatsys, you are sending a meeting to me on the Gmail account, then I have to log in. Most probably, I have to use my Gmail. If that didn't work, I have to log in as a guest user. That's the only difference. Apart from that, nothing much.
Okay, okay. So we have a few more questions, but before I go for the next question, I have shared my screen and it has a link for rating this event. Either you can type the URL, but when you type the URL, remember the last part is case sensitive, or else easiest way is just scan the image that have been shown in the screen, and it will take you to a small form. So just enter it and enter your details. It's just like first name, last name, email address, that's all, and rate the event. And if possible, give us a comment. That's we like this is our first online training session, so we want your feedback. We want to make sure that when we do the next one, we want to make sure that it is doing in a better way than this. Like, and if you see some issues, so please add all positive and negative feedback. Okay, so Susana, let me go into the next one. So when we recording calls while we're having the meeting, does it capture our chats as well?
Yes, whatever the conversation we are having at that time, to be honest, I am not very sure, because when we had the last time the recording, I can't recall it. To be honest, I can't recall it exactly.
Because I have seen, like, when we have calls, we do chatting, but when I download my recordings, I don't see the chatting. It's all about the conversation. But so I don't know whether now it happens. So yes, go ahead, Susan.
No, I was saying it's all about the video. It's the conversation is not visible. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, okay. Right, that question from Vinali. We have a question from Shihab. Can you please show us how? Okay, he's talking about, okay, how can we? So when we are presenting the whiteboard, if I'm not mistaken, your question is, Shihab, something like this: while we are using the whiteboard, can we use the mic? So Santa, I think answer is yes, right?
Yes, and also the video. Because I'm demonstrate during my demo, unfortunately, because I'm already in a video call, I won't be able to share. But of course, in a live environment, you can share the audio and video both.
Okay, so we have a question from Asaka. Can we share meeting requests with clients having any emails, external emails? Yes. I think something we experienced a couple of days back, right?
Yeah, it's possible. Only thing is, like, if you want to have that, let's say, full rich experience, then you need your Office, sorry, M365. Now I had to say Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 tenant administrator need to go and add that tenant as a trusted one. Otherwise, it will be guest experience for the other party.
Okay, Susan, we have a question from Gayanka. Other participants can record the call, or it is fully, I mean, rights have been fully given to the owner?
It depends, like if the owner has invited for the other person to organize, in that situation, they also can record that one. Otherwise, only the organizer will be able to do the recording part.
Okay, okay. Susan, if I'm not mistaken, you showed the blurring option with the camera, right? Or you had no way of showing because of the virtual machine?
No, I demonstrated by connecting to the live one we are going on, and then I enable my camera and then show the blur option. No, I'm a little bit worried. Not sure whether anyone able to see that one or they missed that one.
Okay, so what you can do is, I don't know whether Gayanka has seen this or not. Just explain how to do it quickly.
So Yeah, so whenever we organize a meeting and you are the organizer, remember I mentioned you are in your screen, you are going to be able to see a bar. In that bar, there's always a 3-dotted line. It says, when you hover your mouse, it says more actions. So in that one, you have the option called blur your screen. If you have not already started the video, then you have the option called start video with blur. But if you already started the video, then when you go to that 3-dotted line and click it, then you will be able to see blur my background option.
Okay, okay. We have a question from Divya. The question is regarding some of the features. For example, there's a question like, we have seen some apps in YouTube videos, something like shifts. So are there any tools or things like that in Teams which can be easily plug into that and use?
Yes, of course. Now that a shift is a part of a application given free of charge under the Microsoft 365 subscription. So based on the job role, some team members are there companies who do the job on shift role. So they can create a channel, a team and a channel. To that channel, just like how I demonstrated to add Trello, just like that you can add the shift application and integrate it.
Okay, okay, right. There's a question from Sandun he's asking whether we can see people who have connected to the call. I think it is possible. If you click on show participants, you'll be able to see. Am I right, Sandun?
Yes, and then we can control whether to mute them. If they are not behaving properly, then we can mute them or kick out from the meeting. Those options are there.
Okay, so let me add something on that. So which means if I'm the organizer of the meeting, I am in position to remove if someone has to be removed from the call, and I can mute others. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, do you have a special setting for that, or it is by default available? If I'm the organizer of this call, I can anytime mute someone, or it needs a specific setting?
No specific setting, because by default, as a organizer, you are getting those rights for that particular meeting.
Okay, right, thanks. So we have a question on, I think, the edition or the version of Microsoft Teams. What's the difference between normal team and Microsoft Team Exploratory Trial?
Yeah, because I tried to reply for Guyana, and I saw I'm not very sure there's such a thing, because as far as to my knowledge, Microsoft Teams is an application which can be downloaded free of charge. Technically, there's no feature limitation. The only thing is the Microsoft subscription in the M365 subscription. Now, if it's a free one, then the activity that you can do, there's a limitation. Like example, free version, you can't do video recording. But if you have a M365 subscription paid one, when you log in from that user account to that application, then your features are enabled.
I see. Okay.
It's not the application limitation, it's about the subscription backend.
Okay, fine. Is it possible to integrate LinkedIn for this?
Yeah.
So
LinkedIn and Twitter, those applications can be integrated to the channels as well.
Okay, as channels, right? Okay.
Now, even channels and the chat, because in my demo, I try to demonstrate for the team member audience. I had a chat with a person called Sabeshan, and because Sabeshan is a technical engineer, I'm always communicating with him about the project progress. So for that particular one-to-one chat, I added an application called Trello. So I can see the project progress conversation with him, and he also can update it then and there.
Okay, right. So everyone, just remember, I'm trying my best to pick the most, almost all questions, but I don't think we'll be able to answer all the questions. But let's take another 10-15 minutes because there are a large number of questions are getting added. So Susanta, I'm trying my best to pick the, pick the best for the moment. Every questions are really important, but unfortunately, we have no way of taking all questions. So I know that every question is really important.
As we promised them, even if in this conversation, even though we will not be able to answer, but we'll make sure the questions will be copied and replied to them back in a comment.
Okay. Right. Now, when we talk about groups, the private and public groups, is it possible to change from private to public once it is created?
Unfortunately, I don't see that option. So it's not available in that situation, to my knowledge, because when I look at that one, there's no option for me to go ahead and change a private one to the public one.
Okay. It is not available. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a question from Lahesh. I think it needs a detailed answer, but I'll tell you the question. It says we have Exchange hybrid deployment, Exchange on-prem, and AD is synced with O365, and they're using Teams, but they don't see calendar in Team app. Are you in position to give an answer immediately, or you need time? I think it's more into technical. You need to do some sort of research, to answer that.
Yeah. Technically, there will be challenge to have a sync up properly with Microsoft on-prem Exchange with Teams to have such a sync. That's the problem, because in the M365 platform, everything within the Azure tenant is easy, but that's the technical limitation at the moment.
Okay, fine. We have another question from Divya regarding whiteboard. So if you do not have a digital pen, is there a way of writing on the whiteboard using something like mouse? So I'm not too sure, like keyboard.
Yes, in my demonstration, of course, I also, even though I had a touchpad laptop, I use my finger to draw the diagrams. But of course, if you really wanted to get much more nitty-gritty level and do much more sophisticated level, in that case, there are two options. One is, of course, get a laptop with a touchpad with a digital pencil, which is much more the easiest way. But the other one is there are third-party products called, I can't remember exactly, it's called Viacom, digital pads with a pen. It's connected to the USB to your desktop or laptop. And then on that one, you can do the drawing or whatever the changes.
Okay.
But of course, like it depends. It depends, because if you are a person who's having a whiteboard conversation of diagrams and everything, they will like that idea. But apart from that, like typically, if you're working on heavily on Word, Excel, PowerPoint, I would say screen share and collaborating would be the ideal if you don't want touch all the time.
Fine. Okay. Right. Thanks. Any specific bandwidth requirement for these calls, or can you say that you need this specific bandwidth for audio calls, specific bandwidth for video calls? Are there any thresholds or the numbers like that? It is also one question.
Straight away, there's no answer for me to give you all. How we engage is there is a calculation tool. We work with the customer, enter the number of users, and then they are available or requested features, and then we are going to say this is the capacity required. So if you ask me straight away, what is the minimum bandwidth? It's tough for me to say in that way, unless we run that calculation and then give you the estimate. That's how we normally typically do.
Okay. How about this? The difference between public team and org-wide public team? I think there are multiple options when you create the team, right?
Yes. So the teams, when you're creating, what actually happens is you have the option of organization-wide, and then it says public. But end of the day, in a public one, you can add the external parties. That's like example like Gmail or Hotmail account users can invite. But then again, as I mentioned, if you really want to have much more richer experience between two business organizations, as long as their domains are trusted by the team administrator in the administrator portal, they have trusted the domains, then your communication is much more smoother. Otherwise, you can only add as a guest.
Okay, Susanta, any limitation on Any limitation on free version of these teams? If I'm not mistaken, no, for the moment.
Free version, there are certain limitations, Dinesh, like, and the other thing is like right now, free version is not available also unless if you had earlier. But a free version, you can't create, you can't record videos or you can't schedule meetings. So it's happening only on the free, commercial version. And
okay.
I can't recall all the one by one, apple to apple, but these are some of the important
there
things.
There are limitations. Okay, but if, Microsoft just recently announced that they are giving MS Teams free of charge. I mean the commercial version or enterprise version free of charge. So if you think about the current situation, are we getting everything as a part of the free version, or still we will be experiencing limitations?
No, what happened is Microsoft Teams free version, they have stopped for the time moment. So what they are doing is they are giving the commercial version free for 6 months for organizations.
Oh, right. Okay. So you can get the commercial version and it goes like a trial.
For 6 months, you can use it without any limitations.
Fine. Okay. Okay. Right.
But then it will not. It will go through a special approval, Dinesh. So the organization need to work with a Microsoft partner and then apply, and then they verify, and then they are granting it.
Okay. Fine. Thanks. So there's a question regarding something called LTI integration feature. I'm not too sure what is it. Are you familiar with that term? LTI integration feature. Do we have that in Teams?
I'm also not very sure that acronym LTI stands for what exactly he's trying to denote. So not very sure. Honestly, I'm not very sure.
Okay, fine. In that case, Rishan, that you have sent that question to us. So if you can give us more details, then we will be able to. We will try to answer on that question. Okay. Can you? So there's a question saying once we created a public team, can you add out people from outside the organization? I think it is yes. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Can a single organization can have multiple? Okay, so one organization can have multiple email domains to have team setups?
Yes, it's possible because right now in our organization itself, in my company, we have each country having a different email domain name, like infoconsulting.lk.au.com.sg, but we are using the one Microsoft Teams platform to communicate.
Okay, so there's a question again saying how to see people who have connected, but I think you have already answered.
Yeah, we click the show participant in that bar to see who are connected.
Okay, so there's a question, interesting question, language translation. Is it possible? If it is possible, how can we do it? Or is it limited to certain editions, or is not available at all? Okay,
there's a limitation of my current knowledge also on that one, but I know in Microsoft, even in events, not the team call like this, in Microsoft event, what we're right now doing, Dinesh, in that one, a live translate option is there, but the accuracy is a question because of our pronunciation of the words, of English words, because I have seen, I tested that one, there's a limitation, but apart from that, that feature is there. Okay. But this is not about the translation. Sorry, translation. I'm not very sure. But I know in events they will do the live caption of converting what I'm saying into the English language or different language. But accuracy is the problem.
Right. Okay. I think we have gone through all questions. I can see some other questions as well, but we have already given answers for that type of question. Let me go through it again, Susanta. There's a question saying, give us a tutorial on creating bots. I'm not too sure whether it's really related to this. Are you in position to give some advices on it? But if it is not related to this, yes, we'll take it as a good request and we'll try our best organize something on that as a part of Innovensis trainings.
Sure. Because is it asking about the bots are supported? That's the question?
No. I think question is all about tutorials related to bot.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll try our best to organize. Anyway, that's what we try to do as a part of the Innovensis. We are trying our best to give more and more to Sri Lankan. So let's see. We have a question on performance. It's not exactly, I'm not too sure what sort of performance this question talks about. The question is, how can we monitor teammates' performance? So I'm not too sure about what performance exactly this question has been referred.
So the teams, what exactly teams?
So it says, how can we monitor teammates' performance or the performance of people, or it's all about recording performance of employees. So
yeah, I mean the question can be converted into various areas, so we're not
exactly.
But, so yeah, but okay. In the meantime, I can quickly say that Rishan's question about LTI, I just found out he has mentioned learning tools interoperability. So that means I think education industry, they have LMS solutions they're using, like Moodle and everything. So yes,
right, okay,
yeah. Teams have the capability to integrate with that one, with various LMS solutions. But again, it's with the application. Now, right now, I can say with Moodle, it's integrated, supported, it's working, and there are certain schools already started doing that one.
So what you're saying is Moodle can be easily integrated, and Microsoft supports it, or Moodle supports it?
No, both parties, because with Teams, Moodle can be integrated. Now, only use the word easily, that's questionable, but it can be integrated because there are certain articles also Microsoft also sharing how schools leveraging the existing LMS integrate with Microsoft Teams. There are case studies.
Okay, right, okay.
And then one more thing I can add a little bit advanced. I think we can say the word bot came to the mind because I can quickly add, yes, even onto the Teams on channels, you can add bots. So certain question can be answered by them on behalf of whoever the owner of that channel. Okay.
So that can we record, or can we see login logout time of these? I think attendees, if I'm not mistaken, but this question says, can we monitor login and log off time of teammates? I think it's all about joining time.
That's a bit tough.
I know that at the end of the event, we can get a report, and that has certain information regarding all participants. But I'm not too sure about normal meeting, whether we can actually record person time in and time out.
Yeah, that would be a tough one. I don't think even right now the participant and their time, that is different because you are in an event, but in a meeting, I was trying to figure it out when you log out of the meeting. Yeah, I don't think so. It only show you the meeting, the total time it ran, and then when it ran, that's all. The participant information is not there.
Okay.
And one more answer to extend that. Regarding that, someone asked about hybrid. They have Exchange in their on-prem, and then they're using Microsoft Teams in hybrid setup, and they can't see the calendar version.
Yeah.
So the answer for that one, actually, they need to have minimum Exchange 2016 with the cumulative update 3 in order to see the calendar scheduling via the Teams. They need to have those.
So it needs an update. That's what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Okay, fine. Now there's a question from Lahesh regarding tiles in this tool. Even we have noticed that sometimes it doesn't show tile for each and every person who have joined with the call. So is it limited to 4, or can we increase it?
That's the most burning question we are getting for the Microsoft all the time. Yes, right now it's 4, but then again.
But he's specifically asking about the video tiles, okay?
video tiles right now, it's getting 4, but then Microsoft keep on saying 20, but I never seen 20. It's always 4, and then whoever the other person call in, then he will be visible. That's how actually it's happening right now. I might be wrong, but this is what I have noticed from my side.
Okay. Right. We have another question. I'm not too sure whether we have already answered this or not, Susanna, but I'll read the question. It's regarding adding members to private channel for ongoing meeting. Sorry, once it is created. Can we add members to a private channel once it is created? It has not been started yet, but can we add?
You mean add members?
Add members to a private channel.
Yeah. Whether the channel is private or public, remember I mentioned that word, always hover the mouse near there and then click the 3 dotted lines. Then you can add remove members, because you have the option to add members, even if it's a private channel, doesn't matter.
Okay, we have a question. I think that has to be discussed in detail, but let me tell you the question. Like company like recruitment agency, how Microsoft Office Teams helps? You don't need to go into detail. I think it's going to be a lengthy discussion in that case. I know that we can use this for interviewing and discussions, things like that. Other than that, do we have specific components for specific domains or something?
No, I think you answered the question. It's because right now on this current epidemic situation, yes, interviews can be carried out totally on, let's say, over the video conferencing, and it can be recorded. And then, of course, then if they have any third-party software they are using to record the interviews details, then that software also can be integrated into one platform. Because then the person who's hiring, now they have much more advantage. This company can share even the recorded video, as long as there's a consent from saying interview person agreed, yes, recording is okay, and sharing with that particular hiring company is okay. You can even record the question, or even now it's much more easier. Once selected, bring them to a video conference. And so the creativity is unlimited if you think properly.
Okay. Susanna, we'll take one more question. I'm not too sure whether again we discuss about LTI, but there's another question saying, can we use Teams for distant learning platform? Is it same, or you're talking about?
Yes, it's possible. It is possible now. We also try to work with one school and another institute. Teams can be actually as soon as you have that teams and channels are created, we can publish that particular curriculums into that one, and then integrated with the third-party tools, we can actually convert this one into one comprehensive platform. I mean, there are certain universities already doing this one. No, Sri Lanka I didn't see, to be honest, but in the other countries they are doing. And then certain countries who already have their existing LMS platform, they are integrating, because they didn't have the video and chat part, but they have the LMS. So they integrate the LMS into this one. So the curriculum can be seen on Teams on channels. When they click that one, actually the documents are located on the LMS system. But end of the day, it's seamless for the student and for the teacher.
Okay. I think we have all answered almost all questions. There are a few other points, but let's take them offline sure. Because we have already spent about 1.5 hours. So right. Susanna, thank you very much for joining with us and sharing your valuable knowledge. We know you are one of the assets in Sri Lanka. So thank you very much. I know that Sabeshan was supporting you. Thank you very much, Sabeshan. And hope to get a few more training sessions organized like this, and we need your support again on this, Susanna.
No worries. As I mentioned, Dinesh, but because it's very difficult time to most of the businesses, so that's why I really want to highlight again, if they really want the organization to bring up quickly to M365 platform and continue their business, and then 6 months you don't have to pay, I would advise it's best those business reconsider and then see if they can leverage that advantage which is given for the time moment. So if they're really interested, they can reach out to you, and then I will be able to support for those organizations if they need such support.
Sure. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Susanna. And if you have not voted or given feedback, please do. You can see the link in the screen. As I told you before, the last part of the URL is case sensitive, so don't type anything in lowercase. But easiest is scan in this and get the form open and then fill it. It's a very small form, so you will not spend more than 2 minutes for sure. So please give your feedback. We really need it, and then we can improve ourselves, and we can organize more and more meetings in an efficient manner based on your feedback. Okay, so this recording will be available, but it will take some time for compiling. So once it is available, we'll be sending out an email with the URL, so you can watch it again. And if you see more and more questions on this which have not been answered, then we'll get those things answered and then share all the questions and answered with you. Okay, thank you very much again. Thanks for joining with us, and see you soon, and stay safe.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Okay, take care, stay healthy.